Have you ever been driving alone at night and felt like something was wrong? The deserted roads, the dim lights, and the feeling that someone was watching you from the shadows. Sometimes what you see in the rearview mirror is not just your imagination. Stay until the end of the video, because the final story may make you think twice before deciding to drive alone late at night. Story 1. The Man in the Suit. Arriving from New York to North Carolina for a job interview was supposed to be a new beginning for me. It was late, and I was running on fumes, fueled by coffee and anxiety. The highway was empty, the night eerily quiet. I was about 2 hours from my destination when I saw him, a man in a suit, standing on the side of the road. He just stood there staring at my car as I drove by. I couldn't shake the unease that was building in my gut. 10 minutes later, another man in a suit appeared, eerily similar to the first. This time, I slowed down, almost stopping to ask if he needed help. But when I glanced back, he was gone, disappearing into the night. My heart pounded as I pressed the gas, trying to overcome my fear. I needed another cup of coffee, something to help me stay awake and focused. I pulled into a rest area, the lights casting long shadows. There he was again, the man in the suit, standing under a lamppost, staring at me with cold, lifeless eyes. I jumped back into the car, not daring to look back. The caffeine wasn't helping. I was on the verge of passing out. I pulled into a random parking lot, trying to catch some sleep. I was on the verge of falling asleep when a noise woke me up. I looked around, my heart pounding. There he was in the rearview mirror, sitting in the backseat, staring at me. I screamed, threw open the door, and fell out. When I finally mustered up the courage to look again, the backseat was empty. Had I imagined it all? I couldn't sleep now, so I drove off, my mind racing with fear and exhaustion. The next morning, I went to my first interview. As the interviewer approached, my blood ran cold. He looked exactly like the man in the suit. I froze, unable to focus, my mind racing. I staggered through the interview, barely coherent. My second interview went better. I managed to regain my composure and even got the job. But the haunting memory of the man in the suit stayed with me. My therapist later dismissed it as a stress-induced hallucination, but that didn't make it any less. The image of those cold eyes watching me all night is something I'll never forget. If you enjoyed this creepy story and want to hear more horror stories that will take your breath away, give this video a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you'll be the first to know when new videos are released. Stay safe and stay scared. Story 2. The Pickup. Driving through Clearfield County, Pennsylvania late at night, I relished the solitude of the deserted road. My podcast kept me company until the low fuel warning shattered the peace. I stopped at a small, unnamed gas station, the only light a sea of dark. As I filled up, a man in an old pickup watched me intently. His gaze followed me into the store and lingered as I paid for my gas and a cup of coffee. As I drove away, I saw the same truck parked on the side of the road, engine off, lights off. A tingle of unease crept across my skin, but I brushed it off, thinking he might just be taking a break. A few minutes later, a warning light flashed on my dashboard, indicating a flat tire. I stopped to check and saw that my driver's side rear tire was completely flat. Panic set in. Had the man at the gas station done this? As I looked up the number for roadside assistance, I heard the sound of an engine. Looking into the darkness, I saw the silhouette of the pickup truck, its headlights off. Heart pounding, I grabbed the SOS flashlight from the trunk and called 911, whispering my location. The truck door opened, and I ducked into the woods, hiding behind a tree. The dispatcher asked me to describe the man in his truck, but the call was dropped due to poor reception. I watched in horror as the truck driver approached my car, calling out if I needed help. His voice sent a chill down my spine. Another car pulled up, its headlights illuminating the scene. I saw the pickup truck driver talking to the newcomer, probably making up a story. Gathering my courage, I dashed out of the woods, screaming for help. The new driver looked at the man in the truck suspiciously. The truck driver denied knowing me, but his hasty departure told a different story. The new driver offered to wait with me until the police arrived. When the police arrived, they examined the gas station footage but found nothing conclusive. I never heard from them again. The memory of that man, his truck, and how close I came to potential danger still haunts me. I believe I escaped a terrible fate that night, and I am forever grateful to the stranger who unwittingly intervened. Story 3. The Motel Intruder. Winter break meant a long trip to visit my boyfriend Todd, who lived in another state. Snow began to fall heavily as I drove north, blizzard warnings echoing in my mind. Stopping at a small diner for a break, I chatted with the waitress about nearby motels. A man at the bar, who introduced himself as Toby, suggested a motel just 5 minutes away. His intense gaze confused me, but with the snow piling up, I didn't have many options. I arrived at the motel and got a room, noticing a new car in the parking lot. Inside, I tried to FaceTime Todd, but the connection was terrible. I had to get the Wi-Fi password from the front desk. When I returned to my room, I saw footprints leading from the new car to my door. A chill ran down my spine. Back in my room, I heard noises coming from the bathroom. The door was closed, and I couldn't remember if it had been open before. Fear gripped me as I texted Todd about the situation. Gathering my courage, I checked the door lock and noticed a series of footprints. My heart pounded as I realized the car outside was now empty. I ran to the front desk, crying about an intruder. The receptionist called someone, speaking in a foreign language. Through the glass, I saw my door open, and Toby appeared, staring at me before getting into his car and driving away. The receptionist arrived, a large man who spoke no English. They moved me to a new room, but I still felt vulnerable. The next morning, I drove to Todd's house, shaken by the events of the night before. Thinking back, I was angry that the motel staff hadn't called the police, probably to avoid negative attention. I called the diner to warn them about Toby, vowing never to trust strangers again. The memory of that night, the terror of being followed and almost attacked, remains with me, a constant reminder of how fragile safety can be. Story 4. The Ghostly Crash. The night was dark and quiet as my daughter, and I drove from Wichita Falls, Texas to Oklahoma City. The highway was deserted, adding to the eerie atmosphere that enveloped us. The clock on the dashboard read 4:05, and as we approached the outskirts of Law, the silence of the night was abruptly broken when we witnessed something that sent a chill down my spine. Out of nowhere, an old light blue car careened off an embankment, flipping over. The horrific sight of a human body being thrown into the air paralyzed me with fear. My heart pounded in my chest as I pulled over to the side of the road, my hands shaking as I dialed 911. I relayed the GPS coordinates to the dispatcher, who assured me that a police officer was only minutes away. I waited anxiously, my mind racing as I replayed the scene over and over again. It felt like an eternity before the police called back asking for the exact location. Confused, I repeated the information. The police officer's response left me bewildered and frightened. He had gone to the location, but found nothing. No car, no body, no sign of an accident. No skid marks, no broken glass, no crushed grass. It was as if the accident had never happened. We continued our journey in silence, the image of the accident haunting my mind. When we finally got home, I couldn't shake the feeling of dread that had gripped me. Determined to understand what we had seen, I searched the internet for answers. What I discovered sent another wave of chills through me. Exactly 10 years earlier, on that very stretch of road, a group of teenagers had lost control of their car, a 1986 Oldsmobile, and rolled down an embankment. All 6 passengers were killed in the tragic accident. When did the crash happen? For 5 a.m., the same time we witnessed the ghostly reenactment. Respect pains me. We witnessed ghostly footage of a fatal crash a decade ago. The haunting memory of that night still haunts me, a constant reminder of the thin veil between life and death. Every time I pass that stretch of highway, I can't help but shiver, knowing that some tragedies leave a mark on the world that time cannot erase. If you're into creepy, thrilling, and surprising stories, don't hesitate to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a thing. Every week, we bring you fresh experiences, unsolved mysteries, and stories that will truly send shivers down your spine. Hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell today to become part of the horror-loving community. Discover the mysteries and horrors that await you